Now, a new piece by legal experts makes the case that he should be federally investigated for all of this by the Garland DOJ, which is familiar with the doctrine that sitting presidents cannot be indicted, but that no longer shields Trump. And these experts argue efforts to overturn a fair election simply cannot be tolerated, and Trump's conduct must be investigated. We're joined now by one of the authors of that piece, a legal expert and former federal prosecutor, Joyce Vance. Joyce, thanks for being here.
Good to be with you, Ari.
Tell us about the evidence and the case you make here.
The argument, I think, is a simple one, and it's intuitive. It balances the need that DOJ has to restore its bona fides as an agency that's above the political fray, that doesn't do anything for political reasons, and to balance that very important priority against sustaining the rule of law. And we conclude that in this absolutely remarkable situation where you have every appearance that a sitting president was involved in insurrection, that the Justice Department must fully investigate the facts and the circumstances around that. We don't know. It could be that there's investigation going on and that DOJ, as it so often does, has managed to do that in secret. But the point that we make is that that investigation must be robust. It must look at a wide variety of possible federal crimes. And if there is sufficient evidence to charge, charges should be brought.
Yeah, I think it's a very important piece that you write. And politics here are funny and are supposed to have no role at the DOJ. I think everyone's been reminded of that over the last 4 or 5 years. And although it may be counterintuitive, there's evidence that some Biden folks view this as potentially a political distraction or worse for them. But of course, that shouldn't matter any more than what Trump's political prerogatives and goals were. It should be independent. I think you and your co-authors go great lengths to look at the idea that if there was this kind of felonious conduct, potentially, it should be probed. In a related development tonight that was breaking just as we were getting ready to come on the air, you have new details about the lengths that were pursued to cook the books, to override state results, to try to get some government support or laundering for some really wacky conspiracy theories. And this comes against the backdrop of people testifying. So an outlet has a story here about the former Deputy Attorney General Donahue interviewing with the Senate Judiciary today, and the Acting Attorney General due in there in the coming days. Donahue, late December, also spoke with the Senate Judiciary Committee. Rosen is the one on the way. And this comes amidst basically a lot of detail about a Trump loyalist inside the DOJ, basically trying to get intelligence briefings or other support for really wacky, unfounded theories, and then perhaps even become Attorney General himself. What did you think about all of these news stories?
We should be paying attention to this, Ari. This is deeply distressing. This shows that there was a Trump loyalist inside of the Justice Department who had not only fully bought into the big lie, but who is advocating it and advancing it in a very real way. Because if Jeff Clark had gotten his way, then Acting Attorney General Rosen would have sent a letter to the Georgia legislature directing them to take over the election in Georgia and to compel an outcome for Trump, despite the absence of any evidence of fraud. And it's fortunate, frankly, that the Acting Attorney General pushed back, declined to play games with Clark, who was someone who had been an Assistant Attorney General for the Environment and Natural Resources Division. He had become the acting head of the Civil Division. He was so far out of his lane asking for an intelligence briefing on ongoing criminal matters that it's difficult to see how that even happened. But it speaks to how much dysfunction there was and how the Trump monkeys were really running the show at that point.